This episode is brought to you by Wizard of Rocks. Find out where the yellow brick road will lead you. Wizard of Rocks features thousands of pieces and unique varieties of crystals, gemstones, mineral specimens, jewelry, and magical wares. Go check out Knoxville's wizardiest rock shop, located at the Southern Market in the Bearden area of West Knoxville. They're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 5400 Homburg Drive. Whether you're a collector, a first-timer, or looking for the perfect gift, the Wizard has something for you. Tell them Creative Evolution sent you. Welcome to Creative Evolution, the show that gives artists a real plan for a long-term career. I'm your host, Josie J. Today we're joined by a self-made, fiercely independent creative. Our guest is Luke Walker, a former police officer, professional wrestler, and paranormal investigator turned independent filmmaker and full-time musician. So what happens when you stop viewing other local artists as your competition and start treating them like family? From transforming professional jealousy into creative inspiration to becoming an outlet on the wall for your entire creative community, this episode is packed with real talk on failure, integrity, and protecting your worth. Massive action equals massive results. Let's start the evolution. Can we do it? Look, I am so happy that you're here.
We are here.
We are here. Welcome to my home and welcome to Creative Evolution.
I appreciate you inviting me out.
So I want to know all about you, and I'm sure that everyone listening does as well. So tell us all about Luke Walker. Where are you from?
Well, I was born in Chicago. I was raised there, and that kind of influenced a lot of things, especially like me moving away. Came down to Tennessee in 99 and the Gatlinburg area, and I've been there ever since. And I've met some cool people along the way. I became a police officer for a while. I've always played music. I met my heterosexual life mate, Vinny Vineyard, and we began pro wrestling together, which is something I had done in Chicago as well. And then that somehow got us to doing TV shows. We did a wrestling TV show for Fox 43. We started doing a paranormal show that was supposed to be picked up by every paranormal station that runs those, but they all were like, "You guys are too funny." And I was like, "Yeah, thanks." And we appreciate that. But no, that's a bad thing. Then we got into making movies, and we're on our fourth movie now that we've produced, and I've been playing music professionally for a full-time gig for about 6 years now. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff in there. There's a lot to unpack there in the 50 years of my life, so we can get to any of it you want to get to.
So you've had a really full and very interesting life.
Well, I've always had this theory. Last time I said something like this, my brother thought I was bad-mouthing my mom. But my mom was the best woman ever on the planet. But she had to work. She was a police detective, but she also had to work a second job because me and my brother, I'm 6'8", my brother's 6'6". He goes about 400 pounds. And, to raise us big old boys, she had to work two jobs as a single mom. So I learned to do things myself. And growing up, when there was no internet and no social media, things like that, if you wanted to do something, you could either sit in your house and watch Transformers and G.I. Joe, or you could get out and do things.
Yeah.
So I've always been the type that I'd rather just get out and do things, experience things. And I didn't have somebody, probably should have, but I didn't have somebody to tell me, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
So that's never been in my brain to not do something. That's how we started making the movie, because it was like, oh, it's COVID. What do you want to do? Let's make a movie.
Yeah.
Then we made a movie, and we had a whole mess of people in the independent film community who tell us we're doing it wrong. You say, no, you got to do short films and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you don't have to just make the movie. It's like, you have to do it this way. It's like, but we didn't.
You don't have to.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the biggest thing I think I had ingrained in me, is just there's nobody to tell me no. That's why I didn't do too well in marriages, because I don't like people telling me no. Said if I want to do something, I want to do something, especially something stupid like, I'm going to take my son fishing. No, we got to do this. No, I'm taking my son fishing.
Well, who wants to hear no anyway?
Right.
I don't like hearing no either.
No, it's the dumbest thing.
It fuels me to do more.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the rebellious nature of human beings. You tell us not to do something, the first thing we're going to do is do it,
Exactly. That is exactly right.
Don't put your finger in that. All right. Well, I'm putting my finger in that now.
So you've described yourself as a ridiculous human.
Yes. I did an ancestry test, and I'm mostly human.
Mostly. I think I'm mostly human too. Sometimes I question what planet I'm actually from. So if a fan or a colleague had to describe you in 2 sentences, what would they actually say?
2 sentences, that's an awful, what is it, particular. I think if you come down to one word is dad. And not just to my son and my daughter, but all my friends. It seems like all my friends are like in their 30s, and I try to be a dad to them. So I think that's and not be like, hey, go clean your room. Well, sometimes with the twins, as twins, I got to stay on. I try to always give advice. I always try to help people along. I always, I'm more, and I think a dad is somebody that is more concerned with other people's well-being than their own. Like I'm not in my top of my priority list. My friends are, my kids are.
Yeah.
Some people's moms are. It's just, I mean, that's how I roll sometimes, though. But like I said, I think that's how most people describe me. Doesn't need 2 cents. They just say he's a dad.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Has it been like that your whole life?
I've always, like I said, I kind of grew up by myself, and I had a very wise grandfather. I always kind of, saw how he did things and how he would lead by example and stuff like that. So yeah, I kind of always was, it was more of a, I always describe myself as like I'm an outlet on a wall. People come in, plug in, recharge, and then unplug and move away. I'm not here for permanence. I'm here for people to learn something from and then move on.
So you're a safe space.
I try to be a safe place for everybody, and I try to always, just pass on wisdom as much as I can. The only problem with that is I also have this bad habit of I say the right thing the wrong way. Like if I make a Facebook post where I'm like, man, I don't want to be that musician that plays, Neil Diamond and David Allan Coe. I just don't want to be that guy. And then people will be like, oh, what are you trying to say? You say because I play those songs that I'm a terrible musician. It's like, no, I'm just saying that I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Because I don't like playing things. All right, so I make my living as a musician. I play about 300 shows a year, mostly in Gatlinburg. I get a lot of experience there. We play that many shows. Like I played a show last night. It was Monday. If you're not having a good time and you're not playing what you want to play, then the crowd's going to know that.
Exactly.
And also, I find that, I said, people say, hey, can you play David Allan Coe? And man, I hate David Allan Coe. And I'll be like, oh, no, I really don't like David Allan Coe. I don't like it. I'll give you $50 to play. All right, well, there we go. I know that song.
No, you got to feed yourself.
Yeah, well, and you got to fish for it, too. It's like, so nobody likes to play Freebird, but, people yell Freebird all the time. The most annoying thing you could possibly do, and that means you have low IQ. All right, now I'm actually insulting people, but I want this one to sink in. If you yell Freebird, I automatically judge you as a person of low intelligence and no sense of humor because some dude will always go Freebird, and then some girl will go, ha, you said Freebird, and you're like, yeah, that was you guys are funny. Your relationship's gonna work out. Do you need an officiant? I know some people that can get you married.
I completely understand. I've had people ask me to play Freebird. When we played at the casino in Bristol, somebody shouted out Freebird. And just on the mic, I said $75,000. And I will sing Freebird for you. And I've just stuck with it since then.
Yeah, no, it's, and there's nothing wrong with the song except for it's not great.
It's such a tired joke.
Yeah. Well, but, I'm not going to have any fun playing it. Though I do actually probably once a week I play it because I've got a friend named Eric Vaughn that he's a karaoke DJ, and he's also a 2-time world champ or national champion karaoke singer. And he comes out and he'll sing it. But we watched the movie Duets, and at the end of the movie Duets, Andre Brower sings an a cappella version of Freebird. And I mean, if you're not crying, you're not alive. So we kind of do like that type of thing. I'm just very mildly in the background with the guitar and.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, it's whatever he sings is amazing. We got so many great musicians and singers in the Gatlinburg area. What's great about the Gatlinburg area is you don't have restrictions. Like, if you want country music, go over to, got Jason Aldean's and Old Reds. Mm-hmm. You can go over there. I won't go over there because I don't like country music.
Gasp.
But I mean, I always say I'm about 10% of a country singer, and I will do country music if the crowd's right and they want it. But I mean, that's not what I want to play, and I'm not having a good time. We've got so many great musicians that play, especially at Shamrock downtown, that we don't have to have country music there. East Tennessee really is not a country music area.
No.
It's mostly southern rock, gospel, bluegrass, and I mean, I'm not going to be up at a bar playing, "Oh Come Y'all All Ye Faithful" or anything like that, but I'll play Hallelujah.
Oh yeah, people love Hallelujah.
It's weird to me to play that song because it's like everybody loves that song, but it just feels weird to play that song at a bar, even though it's not about the Lord at all. But it's still I have a hard time sometimes playing slower songs. It's even though I do it cool, but because I'm not a guy with guitar. Not that there's anything wrong with guy with guitar, but I don't even own an acoustic guitar. I play, my whole set is electric, and I got I loop, and I use drum machine, and I loop, and I got a bass. I'll loop my bass in, and and my set is kind of like one of those with the ADHD set lists, if you can, on Spotify, where like I'll go from I'll start with, like, let's say George Strait, then I'll play Prince, then I'll play an original, then and then I'll play Radiohead, and I like to keep people guessing. I don't want to just get up there. Not that there's anything wrong with getting up there and just playing the same tired bar songs all the time.
Right. Yeah. You want to surprise them, definitely, because that's what really draws them in, and it makes them say, "Hey, I want to watch Luke Walker. Where are you playing next?" It really draws the crowd in at that point.
And then I'll be like, I'll be here. It's 6 o'clock. I'll be here also at 8 o'clock, and then tomorrow for 4 o'clock. No. I love my job. I got the best job in the world. I sit on a rooftop at Shamrocks in the middle of Gatlinburg, and 14 million people listen to me play my Gretsch guitar. It's cool.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll, like, if I like to mess with people too, and just like with their, if I get them grooving, and then I'll just rip a guitar solo and just, it's good times. And the only problem I have with kind of playing in Gatlinburg, and some of these other musicians have really inspired me to start playing more original songs.
Yeah.
Because really in Gatlinburg and Sevier County, they don't want original songs. People want, they want those bar hits, but I don't. There's some people that get up there and play half of their 4-hour set is originals, and I'm like, all right, I started like maybe one every half an hour, and I'm still nervous about it. And then I find that my serious originals people don't care about. I'm not saying they're not good, but when I start playing, songs about, my ex-wife's boyfriend's mom, stuff like that, when I start playing more comedy stuff, then people get into it. So, but I don't know if I want to be just known as the comedy guy,
Right.
But also, if that's what people want to hear, and if that's what gets to them, because they're not just original, they're original, or instead, I don't like all the cut and paste music that's, going on now. Everything today is just, they'll put Spotify on when I'm done playing, and it'll be on country radio, and it sounds like trap music, and it's country radio, it's trap music, it sounds like mumble rap, and everything's auto-tuned, and all the words are the exact same thing, and it's just like
Same story.
Yeah, it's like, man, there is original stories to tell.
Yeah.
But I had a theory on that. Is like, people write what they know,
Yeah.
or you should write what you know, and all the people that are writing those songs don't know anything. If you got to get out on the road, you got to experience life. That's why I think some of my songs get a little deeper, and so some of the comedy ones are true stories of things that have happened, and because they come from a place of real. But if you're just you sat in a room your whole life and listened to Morgan Wallen, then that's all you know. So every song you write is going to sound like a Morgan Wallen song, and you're not telling your own stories, and you're not being original, and you're not being honest.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that a lot of younger songwriters, because I go to these they have a lot of songwriter conventions in Gatlinburg, and you're supposed to pay to get into them. I just walk over to them, just sit down with my guitar and act like I belong there. That's always the advice I try to give is, you got to have miles on you to write a song.
Yeah, you definitely do. I know this isn't everybody. Some people can just pull a story and a song right out of their behinds. For me, all the original music I've written has come from real stories of my life, and I'm opening my diary at that point.
Oh yeah.
I am opening my heart and soul and saying, this is what I went through, this is how it made me feel, and this is what I'm doing about it. And that's with every song that I've written.
Yeah. Well, the best song I ever wrote in my mind is the song I wrote after my mom passed, and I still can't sing it. I can't play it live. I mean, I tried it once at the listening room for the Pigeon Forge one, not the Nashville one, but I'm at the Pigeon Forge one, and I'm up there in front of 120 people and get through the main hook of the song, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
and everybody's like, okay, this is awkward. We don't want to see giant men cry. So.
Well, I'm sure that the true musicians and songwriters in there were thinking that came from his soul. So, what is it about everything you do that is most satisfying to you?
I love being independent.
Yeah.
And being independent is because, like, people always say, well, you haven't made it, your movies aren't, didn't make big money, your music, you've never played in Nashville, but I'm exactly where I want to be. Like, yeah. I control my destiny. I earn what I make. I'm not going to drive out to Nashville and play music to lose money. That sounds stupid. I'm not going to, sign a distribution deal for the movies for them to take 50%, and then for the theaters to take 50%. I'd rather just, if we're going to make money on it, we're going to make money ourselves.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that I can make a living, a good living, end the show, turn my microphone off, put my stuff up, get in my Jeep, drive to my log cabin in the mountains, see my son, sit in my chair, and watch my TV at the end of the night.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a hotel. I don't want to be in Omaha. I mean, nobody wants to be in Omaha, let's be honest. I don't want to go, be on tour. That sounds horrible to me. I mean, I've played big shows, I've done tours, and they were not satisfying. I played the Chicago Blues Fest when I was 16 years old. With Don Felder from the Eagles. I was a rhythm guitar just for that one show, and there's 80,000 people.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is uncomfortable, and I can't connect with any one of them, and they ain't here to see me. They're here to see Don Felder.
Yeah.
And I've wrestled for the WWF and WCW in front of 15, 18,000 people, and I'd rather work a room of 300. Yeah. I can connect with 300 people.
It's intimate at that point, yeah.
I do. I prefer the energy of the show, of a small show, and being independent, that much more than trying to be a superstar. And nobody's going to be a superstar anyway. People always say, like, why, all the time, why aren't you playing in Nashville? Why aren't you playing in Nashville? I was like, well, one, I'm 10% of a country singer. Yeah. Two, I don't want to lose money. Three, if you want to get discovered in Nashville, it's not going to happen. They're not going to pick somebody off the street. George Strait himself, if he was 25 years old, could be playing in Nashville right now, and they would walk up to him and say, hey, how many TikTok followers you got? Oh, well, I got about 500. All right, you have a good day, sir.
Yeah.
That's where they're getting country stars, is they're creating them, they're recruiting them off of TikTok, and then giving them their album and creating them. Some people are breaking through, but they're not on the radio.
Right.
Like I said, if you go to the Hot 100 and look at it, and then go to Spotify listens, it's a completely different story there. Like, you turn on the radio, you'll never hear the name the Red Clay Strays or Uncle Lucius or Sturgill Simpson. You won't hear those names on the radio, but you go to Spotify and they're the top 3 or 4 musicians.
They definitely are.
And then for some reason, the Jelly Roll. I just don't get the whole Jelly Roll thing. Now, he's a super nice guy, inspiring story, but man, I mean, he's got so many miles on him. Write about that. Don't write this generic. What was that Lonely Road song you did was it Machine Gun Kelly? Oh, it was.
I haven't heard that.
It was a country road amalgam. Is amalgam the right word? Where he's like, lonely road, take me home. It was I literally wanted to shoot my TV Elvis style.
So, is there a specific film, scene, or moment that captures the feeling of being independent better than anything else
Um, in my stuff or just in
in your stuff?
the movie we're going to make next is going to be, it's a, kind of a secret, but the one that my production partner, Funk Master V, the one that he just finished production on, is truly an independent. It's like no rules put on us. Our first movie, we kind of, it was weird because we set out to make a straight horror movie. As soon as the cameras started rolling, we're like, yeah, there's no way we could be serious. But our second movie, too, much like this one we just finished on, the independence of it is that we don't worry about, if somebody's going to say, hey, that joke was inappropriate, that joke was offensive. That is the moments. There's a scene where me and Vinny we call it the clerk scene, where we're standing out in front of a gospel radio station. We film the movie in black and white, and we have this ridiculous conversation about why I'm not going to heaven. And the punchline to it, I can't say on the radio,
Right.
but the punchline to it was so over the top. And when we came up with the joke 5 minutes before we filmed it, and the guy that runs the radio station was also an alderman in La Follette. I hit the joke, and he started barking like a seal. He goes, arr, arr, arr. And then I think somebody said, "There's no way you could put that in the movie." He's like, "All right, then that's going in the movie." That's
going in.
That's probably so. Behind the scenes, I think the best thing that captures true independence in filmmaking and anything is there's nobody there to say no.
Yeah.
And in that situation, there was nobody there to. As soon as somebody said, "I don't know if you should put that in the movie," okay, well then that's 100% going in the movie.
You're pushing the envelope.
Yeah. I've never seen a grown man that looks like a wet thumb laugh that hard. Oh, what we do with this poor guy in this next movie is, woof. We made him wear a diaper and oil up, and we got kicked out of the place that we were filming at permanently. We're permanently banned from. I think he's not an alderman anymore, but I think he's banned from it too. But well, what are you gonna do? But that's the risks you take with independence too. Is sometimes you get banned from places. But like if somebody wants to get, another beautiful thing about being an independent is bad press is good press. If somebody wants to start saying, well, they said this, did that, and it gets on X or Facebook and people are complaining about it, that's other people are going to go, well, you're an uptight jerk. Now I'm going to watch this anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to watch and see what you're talking about. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about bad press when you are independent. I think it goes both ways with both film and the music as well.
Right.
And it's same with comedians.
Well, and I also like that, there's this weird thing that I think is way overblown, but I don't know, it's way overblown because there's some really good examples of the wokeness in the world. And why I think it's overblown, but I did see, there's some things you can't help but just go, yeah, that's a bit too much, especially if you're watching anything that Marvel's putting out lately. You're like, it's a little on the nose, but with us, we were never worried about representation in our movies, because in the second movie, Jesus himself's in the movie. Spaceman Jones from Asheville. He's also a great musician and owns a food truck. That's amazing. But we never thought about that he was, this dude just was, you see him and you're like, that's very Jesus, and so we never think about that, gay representation. Well, in the first two movies, me and Travis, one of the other guys in the main group, we're both gay in both those movies, and we didn't even think about it. We just thought it makes more sense that these characters, and in the first movie it just makes more sense that those characters are gay. In the second one, it makes for a good joke, and we're not afraid to make a joke about us being gay. We don't purposely put strong female roles in our movies. We just happen to know a bunch of strong females.
Yeah. So you're just casting people based off of, hey, you're an awesome human.
Yeah. And a lot of things we write for individual people. And we find the easiest way to act, the best way to act, is to be as much of yourself as possible.
Yeah.
So it's, we can put some people in situations that they're comfortable in because they've been in these situations before and they don't mind getting in these situations. Sometimes we take it too far as a joke, and and it's not even a joke for the movie. It's a joke for, behind the scenes, and we
Right.
all got a laugh out of it. And I just love the fact that we can, in today's society, the only way to be free is to be independent. Because if, like, we signed a deal with A24, but they're not putting us into movies.
Yeah.
We're old.
So, what do you think about listening to some local sound?
Man, I love local music. There's nothing better than independent local music. Who do you got lined up? Anybody in particular?
Well, who do you want to hear?
And I don't know who's got an album up. Do you have any Emmy Sunshine?
I do.
Then I definitely want to hear some Emmy Sunshine.
Let's listen to some Emmy Sunshine.
Can we do it?
Thank you so much for suggesting that we play Emmy Sunshine. I absolutely love Emmy Sunshine.
Yeah, she's one of my favorites. We've known her since she was 9 years old. My production company's done several music videos for her. One, you'll actually cry. It's called Miss Anna. If you look at Emmy Sunshine on
Yes.
on YouTube, look at the Miss Anna video, and we actually filmed that in her backyard. And like the end of it, it'll rip your soul out. But she just won the Josie Award for Independent Country Artist of the Year. She's on stage at the Ryman Theater accepting that award, and then now then she goes on a little bit of a tour, and then she plays with me at Shamrock. I book her over there, and it's good to hear her without the band, just a stripped down, her voice. And it's so weird because she's like two people. When she's playing, sitting there with herself, she's very Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
But when she's with her band, she's very Joan Jett. And said her latest album, Misdemeanor, the song Misdemeanor is great. And, her coming out song is on there. The whole point of that album is just her like breaking away from her teenage, child star kind of personality and image. And, said there's a song on there called PDLMA, which is Pedophiles Don't Love Me Anymore. Unfortunately, it's hilarious song, but it's also true.
It is very true. And a lot of people, I know myself and a lot of other women that relate to that song so well.
Yeah. And well, I mean, it does disgust me how creepy dudes are.
Mm-hmm.
And enablers and groomers and things like that. But, she was pretty well protected by the musicians around her because you don't mess with her in it.
Yeah.
It's like even when she's playing shows, she's 21 years old now, and I'll still be kind of lurking around looking for people.
You better not be messing with my Emmy.
Yeah, well, but that's the beautiful thing about Gatlinburg, the Gatlinburg music scene and the surrounding area is that we're not competitive.
Yeah,
we learn from each other. We boost each other. We try to work with we hear about a show and I just had the other day where the guy's like, hey, there's this restaurant I want you to play at, and I was like, man, I am not the restaurant guy.
Yeah,
but I know a restaurant guy.
Exactly.
You don't want to put me in a restaurant. I'll be like, singing about, I can't believe he got back, at a restaurant, and you get me kicked out of the place.
Yeah, exactly. So let's circle back to you. You were a police officer, a wrestler, a wrestling promoter, a paranormal investigator. Before you were a filmmaker, what was the one failure or mistake from that journey that taught you the most about business or leadership?
Well, it's all failure. Failure is always been my best teacher. I subscribe to this theory. It's called fail forward, where if you try to do something and you fail at it, well, now you've learned a lot. You've learned what not to do.
Yeah.
And I've always learned more about what not to do. So then when you try it again, you know what not to do. Because there's so many people that, they think that they're going to, if you could have all the talent in the world. You could have everything just right. You could have the look, you could have the songs, you could have just everything possible and never make it. We have a kid that plays music with us, Noah Gray, and he's a pop musician and insanely talented songwriter. He sings like he wanted to get. He's like, I need to find, because he does all pop music. He was like, I need to find some more country because, in Gatlinburg, people ask me the country. So I was like, all right, well, here's Reba McEntire, You Lie, learn this. And he heard it and he goes, oh, I could do that. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's how he sings. He's got everything it takes. So he should be on the radio. His song Kaleidoscope, which you can find on Spotify, give it a listen and you'll be dancing in your, wherever you're at. If you're in your car, you're going to get out. It's called Kaleidoscope on Spotify. His name's Noah Gray. that song should be on radio. He's a good looking kid. I think he's too good for his fiance. That guy is, too tall for him. Um, and they got a great relationship, and I love them both so much. And that's another problem. And no, I'm not. I'm going to tell this story. I'm sorry if you're listening, but I get sometimes, we play against each other. Like I'll be on the rooftop, he'll be downstairs, or he'll play before me. And every once in a while, maybe once a month, somebody will come up and have something to say about the battle. And my answer is always, "Oh, you mean my son?" We don't play. Like I said, we protect each other in Gatlinburg.
That's how it should be.
And said, you ain't gonna be bad mouthing anybody in my group. You ain't gonna be saying anything. We've got an extremely unintentionally diverse music scene. The only time I intentionally, when I was booking, I was like, man, we got too many old white guys. Need to get some younger,
Yeah.
younger
Yeah.
talent here. And that was the only time I was intentionally diverse, because we just got too many old white guys. Said I've got the lockdown on old white guys. We don't need to be. I am the old white guy. But no, failure is the best teacher. Every time we failed at stuff, it's taught us how to do it better, and also keep to the spirit of ourselves.
Yeah.
But on the other end of that is, again, what is success?
What is success?
Is that I'm great life.
Yeah.
And I'm not, on tour. I'm not, we're not selling out arenas, or we're not movie theaters. Got a great life. Because that's the other thing I've always subscribed to since I was a kid, is the Elvis taking care of business, TCB, is like so many people back when I was in pro wrestling, it was worse. Musicians are kind of this way sometimes. But man, don't quit your job. You got to take care of business first.
Yeah.
You got to, said I'm fortunate enough where this is my job now.
Mm-hmm.
It was started being my job at 45 years old. So I put myself in a position, took care of business, then play. Take care of business, then play. And then play becomes business. So you still got to take care of business. That's why if you go to my shows, you will not see me drinking.
Mm-hmm.
You will, I don't touch drugs. And I don't mind if other people do. That's their thing, but those are obstacles. That's something I learned a lot is, a failure, you're going to fail and you're not going to recover. If you're drunk or you're high, it's an obstacle to your life. Said, I've got my son to raise. I'm not going to mess that up.
So you direct, act, do stunts, handle lighting, and edit, often all on the same project. What is your go-to strategy for beating creative burnout and managing stress when you're wearing all the hats?
Well, see, now it's when the way you do independent movies, especially the way we do it, is you're not wearing all those hats. There's 5 people there, let's say 2 actors and 3 crew, but then the 2 of the crew members go in front of the camera and the 2 people that are in front. So it's all a bunch of, I think the best way to avoid burnout all the time is the fact that these people are all my friends.
Mm-hmm.
We sometimes hire outsiders to come in and help us out with things, but it's all friends, and there's nothing cooler than hang out with your friends.
Exactly.
And I think it's the old thing, if you want to be thinner, hang out with fat people. If you want to be better, you hang out with people that are better than you. And I hang out with a lot of people that are better than me. That's one of my brain things is, if I go into a room, let's say I go into a songwriter contest, and there's 10 songwriters sitting, or not contest, songwriter round or whatever. They're all sitting around writing a song. I walk in there's 10 musicians, 10 songwriters, 10 guitar players, all sitting there. I automatically think I'm the worst there. Because even if I'm not, if I think I'm better than anybody in that room, I'm not going to learn anything.
Yeah, that's true.
And again, the best, I can learn from what they do right, but if somebody's a jerk, I can learn not to be that.
Yeah.
I can learn from the other people's failures. I can learn what not to be. That's how I think why I'm such a good dad to my kids, is because I learned how to, it was easier to just learn what not to do as a dad, because I saw a bunch of bad dads growing up.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, don't do that. Key number 1, show up. Oh, wait a minute, that works for everything.
It does work for
Rule number
everything.
one: if you wanna be there, you gotta show up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I just always want to learn. Even playing guitar for what I'm 50. I started when I was 9, 41 years. The first time I saw Senny Hunt play, I said, "Wow, I'm terrible, and I need to step up my game." And not, but what I didn't do is go, "Man, why is she better than
Right.
me?" You know, I've had people say that it's a lot. Why did they get a TV show? It's like, well, we didn't get it. We made it.
Yeah,
You know, why do you know? And that's, you know, I hate jealousy. Jealousy is, I think, the ugliest form
it
of
is.
emotion. And I don't get jealous. I get inspired,
Yeah, exactly.
because inspiration is what you're looking for. Because now, since I've known Senny for a little over a year now, at 50 years old, I'm a way better guitar player than I was at 49 because of him. And even Emmy Sunshine, we were talking about her earlier, she plays so many original songs that inspired me. I'm actually a little jealous of how many original songs she can play at a show. So
Yeah.
I was like, man, I could be mad at her for doing it, or I could start doing it myself. So yeah, never be jealous. Take inspiration, unless your
Absolutely.
wife's cheating on you.
Well, there is that. That does happen out there. So, has that strategy changed as Big and Funky has grown at all?
Oh, that's the cool thing about being filmmakers, and is you can see our growth in our movies. You know, I said while some of the thematics might not change with our senses of humor and things like that, but like our first movie was really just a demo movie. We went out there and I bought this really nice camera that we had no idea how to work.
Yeah.
You know, and to the point where just a couple weeks ago when we shot the latest video for Emmy Sunshine, our cinematographer, who's got a great camera, he forgot the power charger.
Mm-hmm.
So they used the camera that we bought in 2020, yeah. And he goes, "Oh, this is a great camera. You just got to change this set and this set and this set." And then we're like, "Oh yeah." But you know, like then our second movie, we learned angles. Our third movie, we really got lighting down. This fourth movie looks like, that's what's crazy is I saw a rough cut of it and it looks like a $5 million movie.
That's awesome.
And just because we just know what we're doing.
Yeah.
But our big thing is has always been asset management. You know, and said that's, and I think that's with music, movies, with everything in your life is you can't, like people always like, "Hey man, I got this idea. You guys can make this movie." First of all, you know, we're in a spaceship. I was like, "Okay, do you have a spaceship?" For as big as that, you know, as big as that is, we don't have a spaceship. You small that down to the littlest things in your life.
Hmm.
You know, you got to go with your assets. But our assets has always been that we're just creative people
Yeah.
and that we're also fairly likable people. If you get it, if you don't get us, you're not gonna like us.
Well, and I think that's with anything.
Yeah, but he said because we can come off as, you know, like people think Vinny's cocky. Vinny is the kind of guy that will give you the shirt off of his back and $20.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the kind of guy that I'm not going to give you money, but I'll help you out.
Yeah.
I'm tall and strong. If you need me to move, something, I'm there for you. But we do have hearts of gold, but we do come off as
Yeah.
cocky jerks because we spent so long as bad guy pro wrestlers.
Well, and I think also it's your all's accents too,
Yeah.
especially down here in the South, because so many people do still have that thought in their head that if you're from up north, you're automatically a jerk.
Yeah. Well, my granny's last name's Parton.
Ah.
My last name is Walker. My family is rooted in this
Mm-hmm.
area. It's just I happen to be born in Chicago. I didn't find my way down here because I tripped and fell to Gatlinburg. There's a reason I came to this area.
So you didn't like put a map on a dartboard and just
No.
throw it?
Well, actually, I had two options when I worked for a street department. I had two options. I could go to Sawyer County, Wisconsin, or Severe. I was going to come down here. My dad was already moved back down here and everything. And I went up to Sawyer County in May, and there was 3 feet of snow on the ground. And then I came down here, and it was like 80 degrees out. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to stay here.
I don't blame you. I don't like the cold.
But there's no fishy here.
No.
There's, no fishies nowhere.
No. So what is the best piece of career advice you have ever ignored, and do you regret it?
Ooh, no, I don't regret all the times that people, even our agents, have told us to sign talent holding deals. Never sign a talent holding deal. All you're doing is if an agent asked you to sign a talent holding contract, You say, all right, I want scale pay for the length of the contract, and they will not give you that.
Right. Because they
But
want to do everything they
no,
can.
all they do with the talent holding contract, and unfortunately we've signed like 8 of them, but they just take your idea and give it to somebody else. There's a terrible show on Netflix called Swap Shop.
Swap Shop. I don't think I've seen
Nobody
that one.
has, because it's a horrible show.
Oh, no.
We are executive producers on that show.
Oh, no.
Not because we have anything to do with the show, but we met with the guy that did Pawn Stars and
Mhm.
Storage Wars and all that. And we brought in this great idea for a show. We're like, hey, we got this idea. We're gonna, because everything's scripted. I was like, we know some celebrities, like I know the guy that was, his name's Jason Marsden. He was the guy that was Thackeray Binks in Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
And Max Goof and all that. But I was like, you can call us. And we were working with this prop maker that actually lives close by that you wouldn't know, but he's made huge props. He still does. But we're like, they could say, hey, Jason, call us. And he could say, hey, I'm looking for the original Thackeray Binks animatronic.
Yeah.
And we can have a show of us goofing around and going out looking for it. And then the guy looks at us and he goes, yeah, well, what if you guys are sitting around or listening to the Swap Shop radio and somebody's wanting to sell some Levi jeans, and then you and 10 other teams got a race to get those jeans? We're like, we're out. That is nowhere near ideal.
That sounds exhausting.
And we did not sign that talent holding deal.
I don't blame you.
But that is always, I said, and also, if you have to pay an agent, you don't have an agent. I see a lot of people paying agents. You do not pay agents. Actually, one of my agents told me this specifically. Said, you do not pay an agent. They get paid off of your booking. So I see this a lot of music too. People are paying $300 to $500 a month to get bookings. No.
Don't do that.
Never do that.
Don't do that. They get paid on the back end.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
And don't let them take more than 20%.
Right.
Even that's high.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you're a team. If you have a team, 2, 3, 4, 5, that gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Which is why I loop and
yeah.
use a drum machine.
Yeah. No, I completely understand that. You've lived an absolutely incredible life.
It's been fun.
I can tell that it has. I can tell that you have so much passion and joy in what you do, and I feel like you're just going with the flow and rolling with the punches and making the best of it.
Well, what else is there to do? I mean, that's something people have heard me say 1,000 times. It is what it is, not what you want it to be.
Yeah.
And it's like something, but that's also comes down to being a problem solver.
Yeah.
Like I don't. If that's why I was a pretty good cop, even though they hated me as a cop because I was a nice guy. But the it's like I could either panic about the problem, I could worry about the problem, or I could solve the problem.
Or you could solve the problem. Yeah.
My dad never gave me great advice because he was always saying weird stuff because my dad's a jokester. But the best advice he ever said to me when I went to be a police officer, because he was a police officer for 45 years, he said, you can be part of the problem, part of the solution, or not part of the equation. And that's kind of how I live my life. Like if something's over there and it's, people getting aggravated about politics, he ain't got nothing to do with me.
Nothing. Yeah. No, remove yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
People got problems, well, Jenny said that Billy was doing, I don't care. I'm not part of that equation.
Such a waste of energy.
It is. And that's what I think is today with social media and society in general is we've lost respect and we've lost accountability, and everybody's crappy to each other.
Yeah.
Because everybody thinks they are the center of the universe.
Yes.
And
Main
you're
character.
wasting so much energy thinking that they're the main character that they're like, you don't have to have an opinion on everything. You don't have to pay attention to everything. It's hard to, I used to watch Nerdrotic on YouTube, and he just became where everything sucked. It's like whatever comes out, whatever Marvel does, whatever Disney does, whatever Star Trek, Star Wars, anything, it just automatically sucks without seeing it. And if I'd listened to that, I would have missed out some really good shows.
Yeah, you would.
Because where it really hit you was they were talking about Agatha all along. They said, oh, it's woke garbage.
Dude,
that's
love
my
it.
favorite show. That thing was awesome.
It's so good.
Now, The Acolyte was awful. But
I haven't seen that one, so I don't know.
Don't even waste your time. There is a scene in there that is so embarrassingly bad that I literally stood up in my chair and was kind of like doing autism tics.
Oh, yeah.
This is how did signed off on this.
Secondhand embarrassment. Yeah. So, what do you think about listening to another local artist?
You know, I'm all for it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Can we do it?
Welcome back. Welcome back. So, let's talk a little bit about your mindset. Looking back, what is one risk you took in your career where you had to just do it afraid?
So the little secret about Big Luke is Big Luke has diagnosed twice Asperger's syndrome. And so really when I got into anything, you know, it was first thing that, you know, I didn't think about this when I was younger because it's called adult Asperger's syndrome. It really didn't actually set in until I was probably about 18, 19 years old. And I'd been playing in bands and stuff, so I never really had a nervous thing. But then when I got recruited to join a pro wrestling academy in Chicago to learn how to pro wrestle, and I was like, man, I don't, you know, I got to get in the ring and pretend to fight in front of people and everything. But then, you know, I fought through it for about 6 months, just kind of being very, you know, ticky. And then I realized, wait a minute, I can be a character in this ring. I don't have to be Luke Walker. I can be Big Luke. And I created, you know, the Big Luke, and, you know, that's me. Everything I wanted to be in my brain, I became in the wrestling ring.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter that there was a crowd there. And like I said, at first I was trying to impress the other wrestlers and stuff, but I realized then that I could apply that to my whole life. I didn't have to be, you know, Luke Walker, who would rather just be sitting there playing Nintendo at the house. I could go out in the world as Big Luke,
Mm-hmm.
and people could love me or hate me, and, you know, want to fight me and then lose. But I just, you know, I learned that, you know, to just throw away Luke Walker,
Yeah.
be Big Luke, and I think that has led me down paths to that I would never have gone on if I would have not have fought through, you know, the nervousness and the anxieties and all that. And, you know, like when I met Vinny, I was probably 36 years old, and he didn't know I had Asperger's forever because I was Big Luke at this time. You know, then I started saying, well, you notice I don't make eye contact. And he's like, oh, yeah. So you notice if the phone rings, I kind of run the other direction. Oh, man. So
It's connecting the dots slowly.
but that has also been one of my biggest downfalls is like I cannot make phone calls. Texting has been my best friend.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I just can't bother people. So it's like there's probably been a lot of opportunities that I've lost out on just because I cannot just call somebody on the phone. I was like, well, what if they're making dinner? What if they're taking a poop? What if they're, you know, what if they're with their family? You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to bother somebody. And if you want to see me just go into full panic mode, try to make me walk up to somebody's door and knock on it.
Oh.
It's a thing. But I also know a lot of people, you know, because I used to also coached for the Special Olympics when I was younger. And it's like I never wanted to fall back and use my Asperger's as an excuse for anything. If I ever say anything about it, it's because I'm explaining to you. I'm making an excuse, because I've known people with autism, and you know, I don't want to take anything away from there. That's why, you know, like even like every kid nowadays always says they got a touch of autism. Well, my girlfriend's son, he's verbal, but he's very autistic. I love that boy to death. Gibbs is awesome, but like I don't want to take away from his struggles and her struggles as a mom, then go, well, I've got Asperger's, so I'm autistic too. You know, I always find it an insult for people to say they got a touch of the tism. I was like, man, you got anxiety.
There's kind of that blanket term that goes around, especially on social media now. I completely understand why you would feel that way.
They put Asperger's and a bunch of other disorders into the autism spectrum disorder, because that's not even fair. You know, just to put me on the same level as somebody with true autism is stupid. I mean, I can function. I've actually, I think I've done better in life because of the Asperger's syndrome, just fighting through it, and also lessons I've learned. And it's made me an observer of people, because I had to observe kind of how to act. Because sometimes, I do have sometimes a lack of empathy. Empathy, I feel it all. It's the sympathy that I lack. And so I had to look, I had to really look into, like, okay, what hurts that person's feelings? And then so it really helped me out learning how to read people. And as a police officer, oh, it was great having Asperger's because I needed a reason to pull a car over. I needed a reason to knock on somebody's door. I needed a reason to run into battle.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not just going to do that. Just
to do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Give me a reason to do it. I'm there. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I always said. Even when I was I was on the SWAT team and everything. I was like, hey man, if nothing's going on, don't be around me. But when it goes down, get behind me. You know, I'm willing to
Full speed ahead.
yeah, full speed ahead, get into it. That's why. Oh, remember that? Was it in Texas, that school shooting where the officers were like hiding out?
Yes.
I was like, whoa. That made me real mad
Well,
because
yeah,
I was
of
like,
course.
no, you run in there.
Yeah.
You save as many kids as you can. You don't hide out in the hallway. If you get shot and died, it's what you signed up for.
Yeah, exactly. They did sign up for that.
Yep. Uvalde, was it Uvalde, Texas?
I think it was. So you challenged the assumption that you need Hollywood resources to make compelling regional stories. Describe a time when asking why not opened a major door for you.
Well, now I'm gonna say this, and has to do with songwriting. This has to do with music. This has to do with movies. Money doesn't tell a good story. Money will never tell a good story. If you go to Hollywood to make a movie, there's a great interview with Louis C.K. on Joe Rogan from about 2 years ago, and I as soon as I heard it, I sent this to all my filmmaking friends, where Louis C.K. makes independent movies because there's literally people's jobs in Hollywood. If you're making a movie, there's somebody whose job is there is specifically tell you no. That is their job, is to say, no, you can't say that joke. Well, what do you think about making this joke? It's like, no, I don't want that.
No.
I don't want, well, you're going to get paid $10 million. I don't care. I want to do things the way I want to do them.
Yeah, you want to be true to yourself.
Yeah. I would much rather have integrity than money, you know, because money will come either way. And if you look at your life, you know, how many dollars do you still have that you ever earned, and how many relationships have you ever been in that work? The most you can hope for to die with is some money in the bank to give your kids and one successful relationship. You know, but if you don't have integrity, I think you don't have anything. And that's kind of how I look at, you know, playing the bar hits, is if you want to do that and that is your style, awesome.
Go ahead.
And nothing against it. To me, it goes against what I do, what I feel. It hurts my feelings to play songs I don't want to play. And you could tell I don't like it. So in movies, if we ever got to the point where we're not going to go, and our production company isn't going to make $5 to $10 million movies, we're going to sell our scripts, and somebody else can make those movies and see what they want to do. Because like, you take our first movie, The Hike, you know, said we set out to make a horror story, and ended up being a horror comedy. But we could sell that to A24, and they can split that into two movies. They can make the comedy and they can make the horror movie.
Yeah.
There's still a great story in there. But if they said, oh, well, here's $10 million, or here's $500,000, write a script about this. Oh, we could do it, but they can have no heart to it because money don't tell a story.
No, it really doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. So if you could implement one strategy from another industry into the independent filmmaking, what would it be?
Spotify. I would love to, you know, like most of our movies, you know, get onto Tubi, or, you know, it said if you can go, if you've got a Roku TV, you could just search and they're on something. But I would love for there to be, like, our first movie went up real easy onto Amazon and it got a lot of views. I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
I think we're at almost 5 million views on our first movie, which is our most inferior movie, but it's funny. It's great. And I love it. Don't get me wrong. But as far as production wise, it's probably, you know, our worst looking movie. But Spotify also doesn't pay much of anything. But I wish there was a better portal for independent movies, because we can't put any movie up on YouTube. It's that even if we, you know, like Vinny made a clip that he was just going to share privately, and we don't shy away from nudity and things like that. We don't shy away from it, but we use it. We always actually make it make sense. Or it's either for the joke or for the narrative. But there was a scene in there that he tried to share with us, and YouTube wouldn't even allow him to privately share it. And then he fixed it and put a bar over it. They still didn't allow it. So yeah, YouTube is going to be, you know, it's, you can't use that. Can't do it on Rumble either, even though that's a lot more free of a platform. But yeah, it'd be great if there was something like a Spotify, but that actually paid, because people ask me all the time with music, like, you got anything on Spotify? I was like, look, man, I get paid $50 an hour, or I can get 0.001 cent a listen.
Oh, yes.
I'm gonna go. I can't take time off to go record music, and miss 3 shows to record, a couple songs, so I can get 0.001 cent a listen.
I know, you're speaking to my soul right now.
But then everybody else was like, well, you can record at home. And I was like, bold of you to assume I have a computer. It would take me a year to figure out a computer to record, that would be pointless to me, So, other people want me to record. Somebody that named Vinny is going to actually put up money to record with this guy. Was it Lucas Patterson? Successful musician. And he started he got tired of it. And just made it, now he's got a studio in his house, and he owns a restaurant. He's doing the sound and some of the songs for our latest movie. And I heard the John Henry song on the way here. Benny played it for me, and oh man, it was a work of art. So I guess they want me to record some of my comedy songs because nobody wants to hear my serious songs.
I want to hear your serious songs.
But yeah, but I think that it would be great if there was an actual, like we can't get on Shudder, and Shudder would a perfect fit for our movies, because they're not horror movies, they're horror comedies or horror sci-fi, mostly comedy. But I think people on Shudder would love our stuff. Can't get on Shudder. Our distributor is just like, don't bother with. But there's a ton of smaller things like Freebie and even Tubi. But like our first movie is still up on Tubi, still doing good numbers, but they took our second movie off because it just wasn't. I don't know why the second movie is so, WJHCAM is so good. I mean, when the first time I saw it, I was like, we didn't make that movie. It's so good, but we just can't get any traction with it. And our third movie, Camp Smokey, people love that movie, but it's just also, it's not getting the, people that have seen it love it, but it's kind of like, a song that if you hear it, you love it, but then you don't tell somebody, hey, you need to hear the song. We need people to say, hey, watch this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, and I'm sure it's the same with your music too. If everybody would just tell their friends, family, strangers, I don't care. If you hear something, please support us as local artists. Please.
And artists need to support the other artists. Like,
yes.
Because I will go to bat for all the people that play at Shamrocks and Margaritaville and Casual Pint. These, they all have something to say. They're all so good and so next level talented.
Yeah.
And I can't put them over enough. Emmy Sunshine, I can't put her over enough. Senny Hunt, if you don't go, if you see the name Senny Hunt, it's SENIE Hunt. If you see him playing anywhere near you, this guy isn't a singer-songwriter. This guy is an event to himself. He plays the guitar, loops it around, beats on it, makes his own drums. He's got a congo. And then the ultimate insult that the Lord bestowed upon me is that the dude is probably one of the better singers you'll ever find in your life too. So it's like he can play the guitar like a madman and make these beautiful compositions, and then he can sing too. And then we got Roy Saunders, who's probably the most genuine, I don't want to say outlaw country, but kind of outlaw country guy.
Yeah.
But he's the most, if I sing a country song, you're hearing a white guy from Chicago that grew up listening to Tribe Called Quest and Prince singing country music. It's not genuine at all. You hear Roy and you're like, oh man, we're down in the holler with you, buddy.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you are willing to speak up for other artists.
Well, I mean, we have to. We all have to speak up. And like I said, if I got to lead by example, I'll lead by example. I'll put everybody over I can. We got this kid out of California, tall, good-looking country singer out of California named Ethan Morgan, who is on his journey. He's really good. All his crowd work is immaculate. He can just work that crowd, but he's on his way. He's not quite there yet, but he's almost there. Then we just discovered this girl. Her name is Kaylee King. And she come up and she sets up a Marshall amplifier and puts her microphone. Oh, I grabbed the wrong microphone, and her microphone sounded like an old record.
Oh.
And she starts playing, and she's like 23 years old and just adorable. And she starts singing like Edie Brickell, New Bohemians, Al Green. And I was like, I don't even know who these people are. And like, I can't, she's also a music teacher. So, but I can only book her. She's only available like 2 shows a week. And I was like, man, I want to book you just every show.
Yeah.
And I need to get the word out about her to other people, because everybody that hears her falls in love with her. Same with Noah Gray. Everybody that hears him, he's played pop music to a bunch of, people from Georgia and Ohio, because that's all we get in Gatlinburg. But he's played pop music. He's singing Taylor Swift, and these people are just, he can turn the crowd in his favor.
Yeah.
And that's, all these people deserve way more credit than they're doing. Even people that we don't even play with, that I don't play with much, like Rastafari. I'm sure you've heard of Rastafari.
I absolutely love Rastafari.
And, that dude is a legend. I said, I don't even play with him, and I don't book him, and I'll still put him over because I believe in him.
I love a little bit of space funk from Appalachia. He's awesome.
Oh no, dude is, and Senny is a lot like him. And we've even got old white guys that are just awesome. Stevie Jones and Robbie Litt and Von Sutherland. These guys are just masters.
Yeah,
and it's fun to watch them work. And they know how to talk to a crowd, and that's always been one of my biggest things. Is I tend to say inappropriate stuff. Yeah. Well, they got the master down.
It's wonderful to see performers that actually care about the craft that much.
Well, it's a win-win, because the more you identify with the crowd, the more you personalize, the more money they're going to get.
Well, yeah, and not only that, but the more they feel like they're part of the show.
And they come back to see you. I've got people, I've got a lot of people that have started off as guests at the restaurant or guests at the bar that are now there every 3 months, and they're friends of mine.
Yeah.
And for me to actually remember their names, because for me, that's big. Like I'll forget my kid's name once in a while. I feel like, Billy. No. For me to remember their names and have that personal relationship with people, it starts right there.
It does. It absolutely does.
And then those people are the ones that will tell other people, hey, when you go, you're going to Gatlinburg, you got to go see Big Luke.
Yeah.
You gotta go see Noah. You gotta do this. And that, because my theory with live music at my level, just being, a bar player basically, is it's not my job to make money. Make the bar the most money they can, then you know what? They'll pay you more.
Yeah.
And the more you make that, the more money you make you. Because if I'm not concentrating on making the bar money, then there's nobody in the bar. I want the bar full. Even if they're not listening to me and yelling Freebird, I want the bar full.
Yeah, because even if we are just the background music while somebody eats chicken wings and drinks a beer, it's definitely beneficial for us.
Your band is a whole different thing too. You guys are an event. People come to see you specifically. 80% of my crowd is not there to see me. They're there for live music, but they don't know Big Luke from Adam. But people go to see you specifically.
Well, and there are people that have no clue that we're going to be there at every show. But I'm sure with as many people as I've seen talk about you online, there's got to be people that do just come to see you.
There is, but it's not often. But but the locals, that's all the cool thing about Gatlinburg is I've been in Gatlinburg for 26, 27 years, and this round of locals, I've seen them all come and go. This round of locals, the ones that have stayed the longest and the newer ones, they're just the best. They're so supportive and they're so friendly, and we kind of kicked out all the junkies and jerks. And, it's a beautiful thing about Gatlinburg is the locals, we policed ourselves.
Yeah.
Once heroin and pain pills came through and people were dying, we're like, no more junkies.
Yeah.
You can go to Sevierville. It wasn't out of a place of being mean. It was a place of we don't want to be hurting.
Yeah. Not only that, but you're protecting everyone around you at that point too. I will say, when I was in active addiction, for me, there was no way that I could see how it was affecting everyone around me.
It was. And you had, people have, so many, how hurt the people are.
Yeah.
It's just like, I can't believe they did that. They're doing that with their life. And, there's only 2 ways out of this, and let's hope for the best. But we've seen it too many times where it wasn't the best.
Yeah.
And you have to distance yourself from that person, because you're like, well, if they sober up, they'll be back. Awesome. But the other option is they ain't coming back. So I got to make this sting less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to distance yourself. And I just want to take this moment to say there's no shame in asking for help.
None at all.
There is no shame. If you need help, You can text or call 988, and there are resources out there. I will put more resources in the show notes. Please reach out. Do not be ashamed, and get the help that you need.
Yeah, this is what I'll put my buddy Vinny over is, I'm not very good at this, but he is, where like if we got a friend in trouble or a friend getting, having a hard time with drugs or mental health issues, that dude will drop everything he's doing and he'll spend the next week of his life sorting you out. There is people like that in the planet.
Yeah.
They're just genuinely good people that are willing to help you out. But when I was a cop, I helped so many people out and just got burned.
Yeah.
Just got burned every time, and so it's just to the point where I just went, man, I can't help. I'm not going to lend anybody money anymore. If you need $20 and you're a friend of mine, I'll give you $20.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lend it to you because that just builds,
It does.
then when you don't pay me back, I'm going to be like, well, you don't give me the $20. I'd rather just say, hey,
It's a gift.
it's a gift.
Yeah.
So that's as much as I can help people. But like there's people around me, like I said, Benny, that man, he'll go the distance
Yeah.
to help you out. And even though it has failed on him a lot, and but it's also part of his experience and part of who he is as a man.
Yeah. Well, and that love that he's putting out there by doing that, what a beautiful, it ripples throughout the community when you
It
do
does.
that. It really does. So what do you think about listening to some more music?
Yeah, always for listening to some music.
Let's do it.
Can we do it?
Welcome back. Welcome back. So, Luke, are you ready for the hot seat?
I'm ready for the hot seat.
So for those of you who don't know, the hot seat is a very fast-paced game where I ask either this or that questions or short answer questions, and they have to answer as quickly as possible. So here we go. Police officer or filmmaker, which one are you at your core?
Filmmaker.
Director or actor, which seat do you prefer?
Director.
Horror or comedy, if you could only do one?
Got it.
Chicago or East Tennessee, which one made you?
Chicago.
Ooh, ghost hunting or stunt work, which gives you the best stories?
Ghost hunting.
Sabretooth and X-Men or your role in The Hike, which one do you prefer?
I actually prefer my role in the hike, and I'm now going to get long-winded because when I was up for, I look at what Tyler did after Sabretooth. He, did a lot of he was Michael Myers. He was on the show Psych for a while. He did cool things.
Yeah.
And, research. He was in, number one movie last year, number one grossing movie last year, and as Deadpool Wolverine. And it'd been cool to do all that stuff, but I don't think I'm that guy. And he also annihilated it.
Yeah.
First X-Men movie. So I'm kind of glad he got that role, even though I had a grudge against him for a while because I could have been me.
Yeah, it could have been, but I do like that you've reflected on it.
Well, yeah, and he's such a good guy. We ran into him at a comic book convention in Knoxville, and I walked up to him, and we'd only met a few times as wrestlers.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there talking to Terry Funk, and I look at him, and he's like, "Big Ruth, Knocker, me into." Because I was like, yeah, I'm still holding a grudge over you for getting over me, kid. But Tyler's a good guy. He nailed it, and I think I like my role in the hike, even though I'm not really in it, because there's a lot of autobiography.
Yeah.
And if there's a twist at the end of the movie of what my motivations are that touch my core.
Yeah.
Even though everybody dies because it's a big and funky movie.
So on the set or in the ring, where do you feel most at home?
Oh, in the ring, but I love being on the set. But in the ring, I hadn't been able to do it in years. Oh, I could get out there and, you got 200 people there that you can either get to laugh at you or hate your guts.
Yeah.
Or, just love you. And that was so much different because you have an instant gratification in the ring. Whereas the movie, people might not even watch it.
Yeah.
Might even see it. So but the other difference is on the set though, I'm surrounded by people I love.
Yeah, that's your family, like you said. So finish this sentence. Success as a creative is
Spiritual.
if you could leave developing artists or independent creatives with one final piece of advice about building a successful long-term career, what would it be?
Do it, keep doing it.
I love that. Big Luke, thank you so much for being here with me today and for joining us on the Creative Evolution podcast.
So I'm sure I'll be back in about 3 weeks.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. So if you would, please tell everyone where they can find you.
Okay, Big and Funky Productions is our hub, bigandfunkyproductions.com. That's going to take you to links to our movies. It's going to take you to our YouTube page. You can follow me on Facebook at Big Luke Music. If you want to come see me live, which is awesome, I pretty much have a permanent residency now at Shamrock Pub. That's right in the middle of downtown Gatlinburg under the Space Needle. Come out, introduce yourself. If you play music, if you're a guitar player, singer, and you want to play some songs, I will happily hand you my guitar or bring your own. Also, if you want to find our movies, again, it's the easiest to go to bigandfunky.com. But if you've got a Roku TV, you can search the names of them. The first one's called The Hike. Second one is WJHCAN. And the third one is Camp Smokey. The next one coming up is Showdown in Secret City. And that should be released pretty soon. They're on some weird website or some of them are on Tubi, some of them are on some weird apps like Freevee and things like that you're going to get ads with, and they always put them in the exactly wrong spot. If you are under 18 years old, I recommend not watching our reviews because there are butts and blood and skunks that get kicked. So, you know, if you don't have a good sense of humor, you're not going to like us. And then also Funk Master V is my production partner, and pretty much everything we do, we kind of do together. So, and he releases all the things first on the YouTube channel and everything, and on Facebook, because he has access, because he's also the editor. So I'd follow him, Funkmaster B, Vinny Vineyard. And that's about it. And come see me at Shamrock and have a good time and tip me $5.
Yes, and be on the lookout for the next one from Big and Funky. What a fantastic and inspiring conversation. Big Luke is a perfect example of what it means to be a resilient, independent artist. His story proves that true success comes from maintaining your integrity, because as he says, money doesn't tell a good story. I especially loved his mindset of choosing to be inspired by other creatives rather than giving in to jealousy, and how he applies his father's wisdom to everyday drama by choosing to not be part of the equation. And of course, his final piece of advice for all of us is simple but powerful. Do it. Do it. Keep doing it. In today's episode, we touched on the very real topic of addiction and mental health. If you or someone you love is struggling, please know that help is always available. You can call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline anytime, day or night. There is no shame in asking for help, and you do not have to go through it alone. Be sure to check our show notes to find links to Big and Funky Productions movies and to catch Luke playing live at Shamrock Pub down in Gatlinburg. I also want to give a huge shout out to the incredible independent artists we featured during today's music breaks. Emmy Sunshine, Cindy Hunt, and Spaceman Jones, who actually played Jesus in Big Luke's second movie. You can find all the links to support their music right down in the show notes. Building a long-term career is not magic. It's about discipline, thoughtful planning, and the courage to reinvent. Remember, massive action equals massive results. I'm Josie J, and until next week, your time to evolve starts right now.
Can we do